Hey everyone, happy Scorpio New Moon. This entire week, and especially today, I had a full day of clients, and it was basically the same lesson over and over and over again, or the same energy or the same fear that was coming up. So, my intention with this workshop is to kind of use myself as an example to dispel these fears or to help an opportunity to rework these things so that if you're going through something very similar, you can hear these words or hear these stories. Hello, with Mercury and Sagittarius right now, to understand how you can implement in your life, or that it might spark a memory as something you've already been through before that can help you as to where you currently are. So, of course, with a new moon, a new cycle, a new beginning, if we want to look at the transits right now, just to really exemplify what's going on. So, the new moon is going to be happening in the early hours of the morning on Monday, November 13th. Monday, of course, is the moon's day. So, we can see that the sun and moon are at 20 degrees Scorpio, making that opposition to Uranus. Now, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Mars is also making this opposition to Uranus. So how can we interpret this? Remember that Mars, literally the symbol for Mars is a shield and a sword. We use a shield and a sword when we are fighting or when we are defending someone or something. So Mars can act as a separating energy, or an energy that is hot, or an energy that is intense, or evokes passion or drive, or something that we want to defend, like a dream or a partner, right? Uranus can act as unexpected change, innovation. There can also be a surprise or something you can't really predict. It can be like an energy of a lightning bolt, I often say, or like you just waking up one day and suddenly realizing something or having a need to change something, right? So for me, a classic example of a Mars Uranus shift or an energy is feeling inspired or wanting to make a huge shift in your life, or feeling so uncomfortable, or feeling in pain that you need to shift because you can't bear to be in a very similar frequency like this over and over and over again. So if this has been coming up with regards to physical pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, then guess what? You're in the right place with this Scorpio new moon, because Scorpio is going to want to get to the root of the problem. Scorpio wants to go deep to help not only fix the symptom, not just give you Tylenol to fix your headache. It wants to go even deeper than that to understand what are the conditionings, what are the patterns, what is the trauma that is allowing this pain or this headache to keep reemerging every single day or every single week or every single month or cycle, whatever you are in right now, right? So if you are feeling emotional overwhelm or frustration, that means that the work is working. That is one of the key signatures that we're working through with this Scorpio new moon. So where are you uncomfortable? Where are you in pain? Where is there energy to transmute to get you to the other side of this? Now, I'm going to share a story, which I feel like doesn't really resonate with this. When I was younger, my father's best friend owned a really nice restaurant in my home city. It was right across from the university. It was very busy, but it was also kind of like a mom and pop diner type vibe. Very chill, very easy. And I remember thinking so clearly when I was a child, I'm like, this is the easiest and most fun gig. Like, you get to serve people, just make sure they're happy, have a drink in front of them, and you get tips on top of your wage. Like, as a child, I just thought it was such like a dream gig because I love to make people happy. I thought it was something that I would excel at very well. So I remember talking to my father's best friend, because he would come over for family functions, events all the time. We would go over to his house. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to work for you. And he's like, oh yeah, one day, like when you're older. So I got older. I applied with my resume. It was always no, 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 no. It didn't make any sense. I'm like, I want to work here so bad. Just give me a chance. And he kept saying, you don't have any experience. This is a really fast-paced restaurant. And also he was saying, he's like, I don't want to create a rift between me and your father. And I was the first one saying, like, if I'm terrible at this, I will show myself the door, but just give me a chance. No, no, no. Even though he would say no, I would go back every summer, every single summer. And I would like go, and there'd always be new staff there. I'm like, the turnover rate was kind of high at that restaurant. So I'd go, not say who I was. I'm like, oh, is so-and-so in? They'd go up the stairs and he'd come down. He's like, oh, I'm like, hey, can I have a moment of your time? Like, I didn't give up because I knew it's what I wanted. And it was even to the point where I got hospitality experience, and I went back to him and he still said no that summer. I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. I know I'm amazing. I'll just keep staying amazing at this current job. And if it's meant to work out, it's going to work out. So I went to Australia that summer and I worked at a really beautiful, gorgeous wine bar in Brisbane. For those of you who are in Brisbane or have been to Brisbane, it was in Fortitude Valley. It's gorgeous, posh, chic. When my parents came to visit me, because I was also studying abroad that year, they got to see this beautiful restaurant, how upscale it was in comparison to the restaurant back home. So when I went back home, he approached me and he's like, oh, hey, like if you want a job and you're looking, you can come work for me. I was like, great, I will. And I excelled at that job. It was so easy because I already worked at a very fast paced, a very intense, a very high stakes environment where I was serving people that expected a certain level of service. Why I'm saying this is because I kept hearing no. It didn't deter me. I was applying for years at that job. And it doesn't matter that it was serving. You can insert whatever job or whatever energy you're attracting in this moment. And thank God it didn't work out when it did. And also thank God that my father didn't advocate or didn't help me, which is also a point of me being like, why aren't you speaking up to help me? Because all that was meant for me to fully embody this, for me to fully prove myself to myself, being like, of course I can do this. There's literally no doubt that I could work at this restaurant back home after I came back from Australia because I'd done something that most people would never be able to do in terms of that level of service or in that type of venue. And I got the job. I made so much money. And there was points where I eventually moved away from my home city. I'd be coming back for like a couple days to just visit family or friends. And he would joke and be like, hey, if you want to work these couple days at your home, you can come work for me. And he wasn't even joking. Like if I would have said yes, he's like, great, here's your key card. Like have a bartending shift. When we are being told no, or when we are being told not yet, or there's something that we really want, it's for a reason. I promise you, you are going to attract certain situations that are going to allow that evolution to occur. I literally went around the world, not to work at a restaurant, but that was a beautiful manifestation for me to learn, for me to grow, for me to embody an energy of being so confident in that sphere of which I wanted. For when I came back home, my energy was completely changed for the better, which also was a trajectory of me working in hospitality, being able to afford a certain type of lifestyle as a student, as an actor, all these different things for 10 years. And I got those downloads when I was a child. I remember distinct like what table I was at, where I was, of like, I want to work this job. And that's something I hear from a lot of clients is like, I've wanted this my entire life. This is my dream. That's for a reason. You are meant to learn certain things. You are meant to meet certain people along the way for that dream to occur. But for you having doubt in the process or thinking that's not going to come, I want you to look back. If this is the camp you're in, because I've been seeing this a lot recently and it came up in client consults today. But where else in your life have you wanted something really badly? It could have been anything. It could have been a free cup of coffee. If you really wanted coffee that day and you got it. It could have been that you wanted a certain grade in a certain class to pass or to get a scholarship, whatever it was. If you wanted a certain amount of money to go on vacation, it can be literally anything and nothing is too small. Think back to when you wanted something really badly and got it. What was the steps? What was the process? What were the feelings around that? Who were you surrounded by? What were your patterns and routines? What was your mindset? And it would obviously help if you can think back to something more recent per se, because again, it doesn't matter what area of your life it's in. The steps are the exact same. It's always going to work every single time. However, if you're surrounded by certain people in your life right now that are countering that, or you're glued to social media, or if there's certain energy that you're surrounded by that's combating that belief, then it's like every day you're not only having to retune yourself to that frequency, it's like you have to dust yourself off and clean off your whole entire energetic being in your auric field to then be even in a position to fine tune yourself to the frequency of your dreams, your desires, right? Now, if we're talking about the other energy with this new moon of the Mars, Uranus, that can manifest as being uncomfortable or needing to separate from something to then embody the revolution or the change or the innovation or the individuality. Is there something or someone that you have to separate from? And that can even be an old version of yourself. That can be an old mindset, right? When you are embodying something new, a new frequency, there is something that has to die or something that is going to be reborn, right? Hello, we're in Scorpio season. It's a Scorpio new moon. So what has to be separated? This is another story. This is also an energy, if you've never had the opportunity to do so, it feels really, really good. So I've only ever worked at one corporate restaurant in my entire life back when I was serving. And it was wild and crazy. You really see like corporate greed and how dark humans can get when it comes to power and ego and status. And this was like not the bougiest restaurant. It was actually kind of like mind-blowing to experience. However, one of my favorite managers is a Scorpio. They no longer work at this establishment because they got fired unjustly. They were like, it was like borderline psychological abuse and physical abuse. And not even, I can't speak because I wasn't there, but from what I heard, it was both of them. And so when they got fired, I was so irate. I was so furious. And I'd already pondered quitting before because of some of the ethics in that restaurant, but this just really pushed me over the edge. So I went and decked out and I looked gorgeous. It's like I was preparing for a funeral, which I was. It was a death of myself. And even on the way to that restaurant, it was right before Canada Day long weekend. It was Thursday. Again, I remember this so clearly. And I ran into one of the managers working there, who was the only straight white male on the management at the time. And I was like, did you know that they just fired so-and-so? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you not mad? Like, this isn't fair. This isn't just. Like, how are you okay with this right now? He's like, he like was literally speechless and fumbling around like a buffoon. And so I told him I was quitting, and he said, okay, well, you have to do what you got to do. And I went in there and I just literally had all the receipts, as a Scorpio dominant person does. And again, the management, like the AGM, the assistant general manager, didn't say anything. They're like, well, I wasn't aware of this. I'm like, well, now you are. Are you going to offer so-and-so their job back? And they're like, no, they're saying you don't know. I'm like, well, now there's new information. So maybe you could make remediations, or you can actually apologize for firing someone unjustly. There is a happy ending to this. So I quit. Did not want to work for that environment. Like I said, this Mars Uranus is like being so hot or uncomfortable, like you're separating yourself from an energy. That entire summer too, people are like, aren't you worried about money? How are you going to afford this? How are you going to afford that? I'm like, no. And at that point, I was already in my spiritual awakening very profoundly. And I was like, everything's going to work out. I know it's going to work out. I'm not going to work for an establishment or an energy that treats people like this. It was very affirming. I was like, I'm not going to like work in this establishment anymore. And that was really important to me. And again, that Martian energy of feeling so passionate and driven in your beliefs, in your work ethic, in your relationships, in your mindset, whatever that is, that was manifesting for me in that moment. And so I had an amazing summer that year. I got to hang out with my friends, got to enjoy the city. At the time I was in Toronto, everything was very easy and very lax. And then that summer, I was also studying abroad in Paris for about 3 weeks at this affiliate school where I was studying French in Toronto. And I just learned so much in those 3 weeks, not even just like the French part, but just about like who I was as a person, because I'd spent all summer doing this and it was like the season finale, so to speak, when I was in Paris. To the point where I came back and I literally had an interview 2 days after I landed at a restaurant of the sister who got fired. Like the manager's sister was working at this restaurant, got in, had the interview, got hired like that. And I was making so much money at that restaurant that I did the math. At one point, I'm like, me working here for 1 month would have equaled 2 months working at my old place, which were the summer months where I would have been working. And I'm sharing this because, again, it was so obvious for me in that moment. I was so mad and it was just so clear what I had to do. There wasn't any fear. I knew what I had to do. I knew the money was going to be there eventually, but I wasn't going to compromise something that I was so passionate about, which was my friendship, my loyalty, my work ethic. And it all worked out. And that was what, 6 years ago, 2018 ish, 5, 6 years ago. So then for me now, being in a certain environment, if there's certain work that is unaligned, I know that I can shift and I can pivot and do something that is aligned, something that I can have faith in, or just take the time to rest and to heal. And that's also coming through for the collective as well. So many people are exhausted or they're tired. We just need time to rest. Guess what? When you're resting, you're in the receptive state to receive more love, more money, more opportunities, whatever it is, whether we like it or not. And we can change at any time. Many of us have been conditioned that our worth comes from our success in career and how much money we make and how beautiful we are. Status, wealth, beauty. However, if we retune our worth to come from how healthy we are, how amazing our relationships are, how clear-headed we are, how much we are of service to the collective, even if it's not on a timeline that has been agreed upon by the collective at large, or majority of people, let's say that you have to be at this position by this age, or you have to have kids by this age, you have to be married by this age. Why? If we trust in universal timing, we know that it always works out. Why are we forcing ourselves to fit into a timeline? And this, again, for me, is part of this new moon energy so that we can heal these antiquated beliefs and fears to go even higher, go into the depths of our emotions to go even higher in life. But if you're trying to fit into a narrative that is making you uncomfortable, the uncomfortability can be always being in your head, being frustrated at your job, being unhappy in your relationships. That's uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. It's like wearing a sweater where you're always itching it and it never fits properly, but you feel like you have to wear it because a family member bought it for you for Christmas. And if you don't wear it, they're not going to love you. It's like, what part of that makes any sense? You're literally not comfortable. You can just take it off, thank the family member, ask for the gift receipt, and return it and get a sweater that you like, and being like, this can be my memento from you. It's using your words, being honest, and just trusting how you are feeling. Remember, Scorpio is a water sign. How are you feeling? If it's a feeling that is not aligned, how can you shift that? And if you're trusting in the work and know that it's working, then guess what? Whether it's now, a week from now, 3 years from now, it's going to find you. If you have an intense, deep desire, it is already yours. That timeline already exists. Like I said with my restaurant story, I knew I was going to work there when I was a child and knew nothing about manifestation. I was like, oh yeah, like this is a cute place. I know that I'm going to thrive here. Guess what? I became one of the best workers there, where he still asked me to come back even if I was waiting for days. I knew that as a child. But if we have doubts or fear that things are not going to work out because it's not fitting on our desired timeline, based off societal, family, or pressure directly or indirectly from friends, and then we give up or get frustrated if it's not here right now, then we're constantly putting ourselves in a cycle. Because again, your subconscious is always listening, that you're in a cycle that has to be frustrating or has to be a long time before you get your results, which is simply not true. It will be true if you keep believing in it. Or we can take the energy of something like this Scorpio new moon with the sun, moon, and Mars opposing Uranus, being like, okay, cool. Where do things need to shift? Where do things need to change? Where is healing needed? Where is accountability needed for me to heal? For me to heal my body, for me to heal my mind, for me to heal my heart, for me to heal my soul. So I can go higher. So I can experience a life better than I could possibly have imagined. So I can experience a life that no one else has. I've done wild things in my life that so many people have told me no. I think it's because I have Uranus in my first house. So when people say things that don't make sense, I'm like, watch me, I'll be the one person that gets this, or I'll be the one person that this happens to, and not from an egoic place, because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And so if the only way for me to prove that you're wrong, or for me to make sense of it, is for me to go through this, then I will. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, because I know I'm going to get what I want, because it's what I want. It's what I desire. It's not like a superfluous, egotistical desire. I'm like, there's a very, at least for me, I'm like, there's a reason why I want this so badly. There's a reason why this is calling out to me. There's a reason that my soul desires this. And so you can also take that if it resonates. If there's something that you want, trust that there's a lesson, trust you're meant to be of service, trust that you're meant to connect with certain people, trust that it'll maybe take you around the world as a result of having this. It all gets to happen. But if you're torturing yourself or causing yourself needless pain, ask yourself if that's actually helping you anymore. And is there opportunity to connect with certain people, certain opportunities, to connect with yourself on a deeper level, for that to come through in a stronger way? Now, I know you all love the tarot, so I'm going to do like a general tarot collective, and then we're going to end off with some homework, because I do think that we need to sit down, get clear on our desires, get clear on where the pain is, so that it will allow you to call in people, energy, and opportunities to heal on a deeper level. Or even just to remember, right? Like water reflects. And so when we remember certain things from our past, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's in love or in career, in finance or in health or in family or in home. Once you've done it once, it's the exact same steps. It's the exact same work. It's the exact same equation, if you will. It always works. It's just remembering that and applying the steps and trusting the process. And if it's not working out on your timeline, we're going to use those cards. If it's not happening on your timeline, then trusting that something better is coming along, that there's a better timeline that's being prepared. It's like, I'm not sure if any of you are avid cookers or bakers, but if you were making this beautiful meal and someone's like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Is it ready? It's like, no, it's not ready yet. I'm not going to take this out of the oven or off the stove until it's ready. And they're like, no, I want it now. It's like, it's not happening fast enough. How annoying would that be to have someone on the other edge of the kitchen or the counter barking at you, being like, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready? It's like, do you want a beautiful, amazing meal or not? I remember one time when I was with my brothers and they're like, make it faster, make it faster, make it faster. I'm like, this craft dinner is not going to turn out well. And the noodles were hard and it was gross and no one ate it. I'm like, this is all your fault. I was like, I thought I was the Aries moon. My one brother is an Aries. And I was like, you were rushing me and now it tastes terrible. Now no one's happy. And I think that's a beautiful metaphor if you've ever had undercooked food or overcooked food where it's like the timing wasn't right and now you rushed it or weren't paying attention. And now we have something that is undesirable. Universal timing is always perfect. Okay, so let me pick up these cards. Okay. Are we surprised? No. The Moon. Justice. The Nine of Cups. I mean, these are pretty phenomenal cards, but it's like balance, justice, restoration. Hello, we have Venus in Libra. She's in such strong dignity. She is in great power. We also have, if we actually bring up the chart one more time just to show all of you this, with Venus's current energy in Libra, she's co-present the South Node. Now, this isn't bad. It just means that certain Venusian things are needing to be released. And it doesn't mean you have to leave a partner or a relationship. What it does mean is that you're likely reevaluating what is fair, what is just for you. And that might be coming up with this new moon in Scorpio, especially. You might have been thinking about all this over this past week of being like, what is fair? What is just? Are my relationships, all relationships, relationship with self, relationship with food, relationship with money, relationship with family, relationship with partners, relationship with friends, all relationships, are these authentic? Remember, Scorpio and Taurus, these are fixed, loyal signs that we're working with. And this is also that Sun Uranus being like, am I being true and just and balanced to myself? Am I actually going after my dreams? This Nine of Cups. And here's the thing. A lot of clients come, I'm doing the work, I'm doing the work, I'm doing the work. And then I ask them, how's your spiritual hygiene? Are you meditating? Are you journaling? Are you working with a coach? Are you working with a healer? And it's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, okay, then what work are we actually doing? Because if you look at kings and queens, if you look at people that are highest in their industry, they're surrounded by mentors, they're surrounded by people that are supporting them. They're like, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. Well, if you don't keep saying you don't have the money's not going to be there. And truthfully, there's always money to be made. There's always ways of getting money. There's ways of fundraising. There's ways of going to the bank to get a loan. And you're like, well, I can never do that. It's not going to work. It's not that easy. It is that easy, because if you know that you truly want to acquire something, the money will always be there. It will find you. You'll literally find it on the ground. People will loan it to you. You'll win free sessions with that mentor. I have clients all the time, or even followers being like, I thought I couldn't afford this mentor, this program. And then there was a discount. I got it for free. I wanted a raffle. Like, this work always works, but you have to want it bad enough. And also too, with this Moon and Justice card, for me, it's like something probably isn't in alignment. Something probably isn't balanced. And you know that subconsciously. Something isn't balanced for you to go after your dreams. Or another way of looking at this, especially with this Moon energy, is like emotionally, you can tell that the scales are being rebalanced, that your mind is being rebalanced, that your heart is being rebalanced to allow this dream in. And also what needs to be balanced between the unknown, potentially what we can't see with this Moon card, and what your dreams are. What needs to be recalibrated? I mean, we worked through this energy as well during the eclipses with that new moon solar eclipse in Libra, but there might still be lingering energy. Or now with Venus and a very strong dignity, it's might be like blaringly obvious, or it might be up for review one more time to say, okay, I'm not living in authenticity, or I'm not living the life of my dreams, or I'm not living in a life that feels good. So where is that anger and frustration meant to help you? It's kind of one of those old sayings, and take it if it resonates, but that you learn more from failure than you do victory. When you fail or when you don't get what you want, you have to adapt. There has to be critical thinking. You have to try something different. You have to be in connection or relationship with someone else. Something needs to change. Like I said, going back to that restaurant story, I didn't get that job. I even applied at a different local cafe in my home city. That didn't work. And not that I went to Australia for serving, but it was a beautiful opportunity where I got to have an amazing opportunity to study abroad. And then I worked at this restaurant, and then I came back and I was a completely different person. So sometimes there's a catalyst. Sometimes there's something of huge benefit that's going to allow you to enjoy the thing that you want at a much greater ease, much greater confidence. I'm sure that's what we all want, to step into a job, into a relationship, into a home, and feel so confident that we can hold that energy, that no matter what anyone says, we can refute it if it's not in alignment, being like, that isn't true. That doesn't make any sense. That's true power, having the experience, knowing how to work through something challenging, so that not only can you benefit yourself, you can help other people move through that, whether it's your friends, whether it's clients, whether it's family, it doesn't matter. But again, it keeps coming up in client consults or just in general, like, why are you adhering to a timeline? And I think it's because we often see that TV and movies, where it's like, what's your 5-year plan? We're going to accomplish this year. How are you wanting to feel? That's what I would ask you yourself. How do you want to feel? Are you in alignment with that feeling? What's causing you not to feel how you wish to feel every single day? And then see what comes up. See what's changing. One small example that I've really focused in on is I don't really listen to a lot of music that has lyrics. I will be very specific with songs that I love. And sometimes when I'm wanting to manifest something big or be in a certain frequency, I'll listen to the same song for like 45 minutes straight. But if you just allow the music to shuffle and there's like certain lyrics that are not in alignment or causing you to feel something different than you want to feel, I'm like, for me, that's not the vibe. So what I like doing is listening to like a lo-fi hip hop or a very orchestrated music, because I love that type of music. It's very soothing for my soul. It also places me in a time when I was younger where I had a lot of ease and a lot of flow, because I played piano for 10 years. I also played the alto saxophone. So for me, it was like, it's bringing back these beautiful gifts and allows me to feel how I was feeling at very blissful times as a child and as a teenager. So for you, that could be walking your dog. That could be throwing a baseball around with your partner or best friend. But what are you wanting to feel? And can you allow yourself to feel that as often as possible, right? There's be a rebalancing happening here for your dreams. And it's likely to come up with this Scorpio new moon. I mean, we have 2 major arcanas here, right? So I do think, and it can also be something that happened during Libra season that's coming up, or something like you can feel that it's very close. That's often what I hear from clients across the board, is that I feel like there's a change coming. I'm like, okay, then trust that feeling. Your physical environment is going to respond to how you feel. But I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for the healing that's happening on that cellular, on that soul level. A lot of times we think that the work is only working if we see the physical money, or if the love is very apparent, or if we get the job. There's so many other ways that the work gets to work, one of which being like when you are healing in your sleep, or when you are going through a trance and you're made to feel uncomfortable. It's like, great, then there's an opportunity for me to grow. There's an opportunity for trust my intuition. There's an opportunity for so many other blessings to come in outside of the very maybe obvious or desired physical outcomes that most humans want, right? Go a little bit deeper with the Scorpio new moon, which leads us to the homework portion for this energy. If you so choose, of course, it's not mandatory. I'm not going to force you, but I do think it's going to be very beneficial, right? So I will say as well, I do have a 4-week and 8-week coaching special available until Monday. So if you want to take advantage, you want additional help and support to go through these themes or just in general, let me know. I'll put the information for that in the description of this video, so you can dive into it if you so choose. So the homework that I'd recommend, what do you want? Number 1. Number 2, what do you need to allow that want or that desire to happen? Maybe it's more time, more money, more support, whatever it is, right? Whatever you desire, then what you need to support that desire. And then number 3 is, why are you not doing it? Or what is holding you back? Or what can you do that puts you one step closer, right? So let's say you want more money. What you need is a job that puts you in alignment with your gifts. So what's holding you back is maybe not applying for certain jobs because you don't think that you're qualified, or that you don't think that it's going to work. Or maybe what's holding you back is that you think that no one is going to see your gifts. Or what's holding you back is that people have told you before that's not possible for someone like you to have that job without certain qualifications. So then an opportunity to heal would be like, where else in my life have I been able to hold the feeling of security, or a beautiful job, or me being able to maintain a commitment to myself? Because the commitment here would be like, I'm going to keep pursuing that dream of a job that allows me to feel like I'm in my purpose or in alignment. Let's give another example. So let's say what you really want is romance, love. That's very common. So maybe what you need is someone who's emotionally available, someone who is going to consistently do the work with you, someone that wants a family, someone that wants kids, whatever your qualifications are, right? So you want a partner, you need certain characteristics for that partner for you to feel like you are safe to envelop a relationship. So what's holding you back? And be honest with yourself. Is it the fear of receiving that love? Is it the fear of not receiving it? Is it a fear of that the work isn't working? Is it a fear of putting yourself out there? Then we can also reverse engineer. That's like, okay, where else in your life are you experiencing love, or have experienced love in the past? What was the mindset around that in terms of receiving love from a friend or a colleague or a family member? And most of the times, like, you weren't doubting the love, or you're able just to be your authentic self and get everything that you wanted, or you were able to see your worth. And so the love just came naturally. So then it's attaching yourself to that feeling, and then looking at the fear of, what if it happens? What if it doesn't? And seeing if that actually makes any sense. Because if you've already experienced love on multiple forms, then we're going back to the fear of, what if it doesn't happen? Something that you might not be able to control per se, but you can control how you wish to feel. And if you're wanting to feel safe or secure or passionate in a relationship, then you are allowing yourself to feel safe and secure and passionate in other forms of love that you have. Love with yourself, love with your body, love of food, love with your pets, love of nature, love of community. You can feel those things. It's all the same. You feeling those feelings now. Remember, everything in your life is responding to how you feel, which is beautiful with the Scorpio energy. But if we're allowing our mind to dictate how we feel instead of allowing how we feel to dictate our thoughts, then the mind is just going to repeat a same thing, because humans can sometimes be funny in a way that if it's not physically here, then they believe it's not working, which is not true. We can feel that we're getting closer and closer. We can feel the love that we can desire. We can feel that we're getting stronger. We can feel that we're getting smarter. And guess what? You're going to attract certain books, podcasts, mentors, opportunities, signs from the universe that you're getting closer and closer and closer. The work is working stronger and stronger and stronger until you completely envelop, until you completely attune yourself to that frequency and know full-heartedly that you can hold that frequency every single day. So there'd be no fear, there's no doubt. And then when you get to the next level and you want to go even higher, so maybe you found the partner, now you want to get married, or you got the job and you want to ask for promotion, then you just apply these steps again. Okay, so let me know if there's any questions. I will recap the homework, if you so choose, in the description of this bio, or the description of this video in the bio section, and take the time to get very clear on how you wish to feel. If you're feeling frustrated, irritated, angry, then the work is working. You're exactly feeling what these transits are meant to elicit. And it's an invitation to go deeper. It's an invitation to separate yourself from energy that's no longer in alignment. It's an invitation for you to step into who you are at a more true, authentic, powerful level, form, evolution, however you want to phrase it for yourself. This is all working your highest benefit. Every time there's a no or a not yet, it's guiding you to a higher path. It's guiding you to greater gifts. It's guiding you to better opportunities. So not only are you of service to yourself, you're of service to others and the collective, which is why your soul is here to begin with. Okay. So that is all for today. Please let me know how this resonated in the comments. And I'll try and get back to all the questions or queries in due time, I promise. And that's all. Remember, how do you wish to feel? If you got anything from this workshop, get clear on that. And anything that's not in alignment with that, that's an invitation to go deeper in the work and ask yourself why you're allowing extraneous energy or relationships to take you out of how you wish to feel. Boom. So have a beautiful Scorpio new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.